True or false? More than half of freelancers report being paid late by at least one client in the past year, and 20% say they wait over 60 days for payment.
True.
People are good for nothing.
Yeah, that was the fastest response that I could give thus far.
Yeah, I've literally gone knocking on a client's door before.
Physically.
Showed up at the office.
Wow.
Said, knock, knock, where's my money? What's going on, everybody? My name is Hassiem Muhammad.
And I'm Andrea Laing, and you are listening to Finance for Freelance.
On the Actor's Instrument, tools for the long game. In this week's episode, we'll be reacting to some shocking stats about the gig economy.
And playing a game of Would You Rather.
We'll discuss how the two of us have been able to afford to travel internationally.
And sharing on what we've splurged as of late.
Alrighty, to kick things off, Andrea, I got a pop quiz for you.
Okay.
Alrighty, so all of these, you just answer like true or false.
Okay,
these are all like gig economy stats because we're gig workers. Very on brand, yes. Stat number 1. Over 60% of freelance creatives have no steady emergency fund, with most having less than $500 saved. True or false?
Over 60%?
Yes, so a good majority.
Yeah. I'd have to go with true.
Ding, ding, ding. That is correct.
Whoa.
True.
Okay.
And basically, this stat mirrors just national data we have on irregular income workers.
Okay.
So this is a stat that's just basically true for anyone who does not have a 9-to-5.
Okay. Right.
Alrighty. Number 2, true or false? The average entertainment freelancer writes off between $7,000 and $15,000 in business expenses per year.
You said 7,000 to 15,000?
Yeah, 7 to 15K, which is the standard deduction is 12,000. So they're saying, like that's kind of like right there in the middle. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'd say I don't know if I've personally written off that much.
15's a lot.
15's a lot, right? I would say true, perhaps.
And perhaps you are right. True. So, things like costumes, gear, travel, coaching, home studio, that's become really popular with the advent of the self-tape, right? People are writing off, like, if there's a section of your house that you literally only use for taping, like this, where I'm at right now, this is all this part of my house is used for.
Yeah.
Union dues, which actually, technically you're not supposed to be able to write those off. Maybe we can talk about that another time. But anyway.
No, we need to talk about that very soon, hopefully in the next one.
But people be writing it off.
I have to ask. Can I ask you if you have?
I have. I know the argument, little education sidebar here, folks. So basically, and I asked a tax professional who works with artists about this. She said, technically, you're not supposed to write off your union dues because it's something along the lines of because of what you're already receiving back by like being in the union. Mm-hmm. Now, what she said was you could theoretically argue, like, say you're a member of Actors Equity and SAG-AFTRA, but this year you didn't do any theater work and you still paid your dues. In that respect, you'd be able to write off your dues because you basically paid for nothing.
Sure.
Not literally nothing, but in the eyes of the IRS, it's like you could argue that there was no return on that expense aside from you being a part of the union.
Right.
Like you didn't get any, like there was no work that you got from it. So that's the argument.
Understandable. Yeah. Thanks for sharing that.
Alrighty. And a little other sidebar. Basically, like tax law is an interpretive law. So however you interpret it, technically, if you can make an argument for it, you have a shot. Number 3, true or false? More than half of freelancers report being paid late by at least one client in the past year, and 20% say they wait over 60 days for payment.
True?
Yep, people be paying people late.
Yeah.
People are good for nothing.
Yeah, that was the fastest response that I could give thus far.
That was quick. Sounds like you have some experience there.
I'm sure we've both been there, right?
Yeah, I've literally gone knocking on a client's door before,
Physically.
physically, showed up at the office, said,
Wow.
knock, knock, where's my money? Okay.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Number 4, I got 2 left for you. Number 4, in 2025, the majority of entertainment freelancers will receive a 1099 form only if they earn more than $5,000 from a single client.
I
So
think that that's this. I think that that's this standard, right? I'm gonna go with false. I'm not sure if I'm right or not.
4 for 4, Andrea. That is false. That is false.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so basically, the big beautiful bill from July of this year, Trump's big beautiful bill, has increased that minimum threshold, but
Yeah.
it's only at $2,000. So it used to be like if you make money as an independent contractor, if you make up to $600, then they have to like give you a 1099 form, and that has since increased to $2,000. So now if you do a singing gig for somebody, or like if you're, a landscaper and you work for somebody, if you make less than $2,000, technically they do not have to give you a 1099. Also, technically, you're still supposed to report it, but you won't have a tax form. And so who knows? Okay, number 5. Nearly 80% of working actors and creatives contribute regularly to a retirement savings account.
I would say uh, this is weird because I feel like there's some technicality.
This includes like union retirement accounts. This includes a personal, like you have your personal like retirement account, whether it be an IRA, traditional, or a Roth IRA, just any kind of retirement account.
I feel like it's true, but I'm going to say false.
You feel like it's true, but you're gonna say false. And you are correct. 5 for 5, Andrea. Woo!
Whoa.
It's
What? Okay.
it's it's like you're qualified to co-host the show.
I'm listen, I haven't looked at the answers, seriously.
No. Okay. So
Okay.
it's false. The number is much, we don't have an exact number, but it's much lower, like 80%. I mean, that's not even true of people who have regular jobs.
Right.
Retirement savings among creative freelancers. In fact, this is a real stat. Retirement savings amongst creative freelancers lags behind the general workforce.
I can see that. Okay.
So the general workforce does not contribute that much, and creative freelancers contribute much
Way
less
less.
than them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. Congratulations. 5 for 5. I got to make it harder next time.
Thanks. No,
You ate.
yeah. Well, it was a little tricky, so I thought it was right where it should be. So that was fun. Yeah.
Now you ate that up. Cool. All righty. You want to take us to the next?
Yes, we're going to play a game of Would You Rather? Money versus creative autonomy. Would you rather invest 20K of your own money into producing a short you truly believe in or a project you believe in, or save it to float yourself between bookings for the next 6 months?
I'm going to go with my gut here. I'm going to save it to float myself for the next 6 months.
Ooh, what's that gutty gut saying about?
So my father is an entrepreneur. He owns multiple businesses. He has a farm, and he had some business partners. Long story short, they had a falling out, but their agreement was like the business partners footed the bill and my father was doing the manual labor. And he said to me, he said, son, he's like, whenever you have a business, always get somebody else to pay for it. And I've kind of held that with me. So like, I think about that for us, like you hear creatives and actors talk about like, and filmmakers talking about producing their own work and like producing their own shorts or whatever.
Sure.
I think self-producing in that respect, like putting your own money into it, your own prerogative. If you got the dough, sure. But if it's a case of, I don't know when my next job is going to come.
Right.
I don't know how I'm paying the bills in 3 months. I'm going to hold on to that nest egg. And if I want to produce the film, I'll still produce it, but I'll get support from outside of my own household. I'll try and leverage some investors. I will crowdfund. I will apply for grants. Like, I'm not saying I wouldn't produce the film. And honestly, like, 20K for a short is totally doable. It's not astronomical. You know, $20,000 is a good amount of money, but it's realistic. So yeah, so that's where I'm coming from.
I love you sharing that. I love that we got some insight into your father and his perspective, which has been passed down onto you. I would love to hear more about that in a future episode, actually,
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
people
Yeah.
that
He's
have
like,
been wanting to create something of their own and how to go about that. So cool.
look, there's a lot of wealthy people out there who love and support the arts. And I mean, like, when I did my web series a few years ago, we raised, I think it was like $22,000. It was something, it was around the 20,000. It was a little over 20K. And I didn't put a dime of my money into it. And we literally had an anonymous donor donate $1,000 to the campaign one day. And I reached out to them because their name, it was like, I'm not gonna say their username. It didn't even sound like a real name. So it doesn't matter. It wasn't like a person's name. It was like some weird username. And I texted my co-producer and I was like, hey, did you see this? Because I was freaking out because I thought we had like a fraudulent donation.
You thought it was like they drop a penny and then you like accept their like message and then somehow yeah.
Well,
does that not happen to you? Okay.
Well, and also, and also the platform we were on, like, their $1,000 pushed us over our green light goal. And so I was freaking out because I was like, if this isn't real, that means we don't actually have our green light.
Oh, right. Yeah. And then all the money goes back, or you just didn't succeed at the benchmark. Yeah.
Exactly. And so I emailed the person and I was like, hey, you know, I'm incredibly grateful, but I just want to check that this is real. And they were like, yeah, no, they're like, I was just like kind of scanning through the site and I came across your project and I thought the idea sounded awesome and I wanted to support you.
Sweet baby Jesus. What?
There's money out there, guys. If it's like, if you're doing paranormal activity and it's like your life's work and you're like, I have the money, I'm just going to fund it myself, go off. I'm not going to say don't, but I would say,
Sure.
like, at least try and get the money somewhere else first.
No, that's very helpful because even myself, I wrote a pilot with my friend and we're both kind of just like taking a second. Well, I'm in travel and she's back in school, but we're trying to figure out next steps for this pilot. And so that is actually incredibly helpful. And our director advised us the same thing. And if you're just starting out like I am, not even knowing what to do with something that you're passionate about, that is so incredibly helpful. It really is. So thank you for sharing that. I really want to get your dad on here. I really want to get his business mind onto this podcast so we can ask some questions. Okay, another question for you. Would you rather book a national commercial that pays $60K but typecast you for years, or do a streaming show that pays $8K total but elevates your acting profile?
Oh, this is harder than I thought it was going to be. Because you started to ask the question. I was like, oh, this is easy. I was like, This is easy.
Yeah.
Because I had a snarky answer at first. And then you hit me with part two.
Bring this at us. We still want to hear what snarky you're gonna be like, duh.
Okay, so what I was gonna say was, because people, it's a common thing in our industry, being typecast. You don't want to get typecast. You don't want to be pigeonholed. I had a professor in college. He would say, typecast is cast. Because there's a lot of folks out here who are not casting anything at all.
Okay.
So they are, you know what I'm saying? Like, you could just not be cast, right? So let's not.
Pigeon-held is work.
Pigeon-held is held. You're being held. There's a lot of folks. Ain't nobody holding on to them. So that was my sassy answer. Or 8K for a series that elevates the career. Dang it. Wow. Yeah. If my reps called me today and those were both on the table and they were conflicting gigs, I would take the 8K for the project that's going to elevate my career. This show is called Tools for the Long Game. I'm here for the long game. And I think if I booked a series that, you know, maybe they're paying like minimums for, and I was recurring on the series, I was in a few episodes, and that led to X, Y, or Z, next things for my career, I'd rather have that Also because like, I mean, I've done a national commercial before. They don't like, in my experience, commercials don't like linearly lead to the next thing like that.
Of course.
You know, like you could do a one off and just you just did that. And that's not to say it's not true for television and film as well. We see that all the time, but I feel like it's way easier to leverage, hey, my client was just on 4 episodes of this limited series that A24 did. Um, will you see him for your recurring guest star you're casting? Like that's way more likely to happen.
100%. So we're saying that there's a chance that we wouldn't see Jake from State Farm making an appearance. But I love what you had to say because it makes you really think about the things that you're asking as actors. I think that's like sometimes we're like, oh my God, I want to be a series regular. I want this so bad. But it's like you have to understand the implications of being a series regular. You were on a show for years if it goes on to do several different seasons. That's a whole different thing. But I think what you're saying is really nice is because yeah, do I want this money that's going to be like really nice or do I want something that's going to carry me over? That's going to lead to more and different things.
That's what it is. Because also if this TV series leads to booking my first series regular, well, I'm gonna make way more than $60,000. You know, so it's like don't sell out in the short term and miss your blessing in the long term.
That's assuming that the elevation of your acting career gets to that. That's the other thing too. It's like, I don't know. This is the question. I don't know how far it's going to go, but let's assume that it's going to go pretty far, right?
Now, yes, exactly. I was like, I believe in myself, so that's what I
Yeah.
believe.
Done. The end.
Um, I think if I was, let's say, circumstantially, the commercial was guaranteed, like a Jake from State Farm or a Flo from Progressive, like this is going to be the next 10 years. You're the spokesperson. And let's say, like, I just had a child or something, I would take that because the stability is going to provide for me and my family. You know, right now, it's just my wife and I, like, we're fine as we are. We like, there's no rush for us to get a nicer apartment. There's no rush for us to move anywhere. We don't have any dependents. And so playing the long game is easier. Like, I admit that. Like, there are people who are maybe in different circumstances. Maybe you have crippling student debt and you're like, nah, I just need the money. Then
Yeah.
do what you got to do. I ain't mad at you either way.
Yeah. It depends on the circumstances. And I think that goes back to what we mentioned in the last podcast. It just depends on where you're at. It depends on what your needs are. It depends on your why, all of that. Can I give you one quick example about the long game? This pertains to SNL, and I'm sure some people have heard stories or if they've auditioned for it. But when it comes to SNL, my understanding is that the hours are beyond insane. The anxiety is through the roof because you don't know if your particular script or if you are going to be in a certain episode. And so the hours are long. You can't work on anything else. There's no auditioning for anything else. This is literally your livelihood. So this is the long game. You're choosing to go in and, who knows what's going to come out at the end of it. Some people have gone on to do other things afterwards and some have not, So have you heard SNL stories?
Facts. I have not, but I did watch the SNL movie and apparently it's extremely accurate. And that was crazy.
Yeah.
Like they barely even pulled it off.
Yeah.
But no, I know some crew folks who work on SNL actually.
Mm,
Like I know like
okay.
I know a Steadicam operator, and I know like a gaffer who work on the shows. And it is crazy hours. Shall we get into our main education piece for the day? Andrea and I have both done some international travel as of late. Andrea spent some time in Amsterdam. I spent my birthday in Guatemala. And I just thought it may be of interest to, the folks listening to this show to hear how the hell do we afford to travel across the world as actors, as non-celebrity actors, right? So why don't you go first, Andrea? How was your trip to Amsterdam? How'd you make it happen?
Yes. Okay. So this will be my third trip. I'm leaving actually on December 1st to go back. I was there in July and October and then December upcoming. So It gets interesting depending on seasonal travel. I would say, especially for December, I'm flying early in December when prices are lower than peak tourist season. So during spring and summer, it's going to be through the roof. And Amsterdam's one of the more expensive European cities to travel to. I definitely plan and save in advance. And, taking that first trip, you're kind of just getting your feet wet because you're not entirely sure what to expect. Even when you get to the airport, like what is the means of travel to get to your final destination? So I had to kind of do a crash course before figuring everything out. I'll tell you this much as far as budgeting goes, or I'll just read from my notes. Okay. So, deciding destination, whether it's Amsterdam or anywhere else in the world, and estimate costs for flights, accommodation, food, activities, and local transport, Uber. Specifically in Amsterdam, and I think London, they have Uber and Bolt. And then I budgeted for Amsterdam by factoring in month-long stay, flights, groceries, occasional dining out, and transportation. So when I went in July, I think I went for like maybe 2 weeks. When I stayed in October, I stayed for a month. And then this coming December, I'll stay for like a month and some change. So with, tiptoeing, I kind of figured out what that would look like for 2 weeks, double that for the month, all that stuff. Flexibility on timing. Now, seeing as how I work in the States, opportunities are still in the States. With my agency, with being in Amsterdam. So yes, flexibility is a huge thing. So for me, with needing to return back to work, shall an opportunity arise, I have to purchase tickets that allow for me to maybe change the date of flying back in earlier. What I have discovered from Travel Daddy Dave, my friend David Shea, he's with AMT, also an actor. He has started Travel Daddy Dave, and he gives tips and pointers on cost-effective flights and travels. So he actually told me about Chase Sapphire Rewards. Chase Preferred Sapphire.
That sounds like a card. That sounds like a.
We could flash the card over my mouth since I'm saying it wrong or something. But yes, so I got that card. And basically, you just use that for everything. Dining out, gas, whatever. Starbucks. I don't drink coffee, but whatever coffee shop that you go to. And it gives you points. And you can transfer those points into any sort of flight airline. So that's what I've been doing as of lately, just because of last minute travel. And for example, a trip that I took in the past was like maybe 20,000 points plus $200. And we're talking international flights last minute, like a week into the flight. You're not going to find that. For example, if the old way that I was doing it, if you go to if Google Flights and Google Atlanta to Amsterdam, start looking at the months in advance, like starting January, it's always like 1,000, even to September, it gets way worse. So the prices aren't fluctuating. They're going to stay the same. But if you go through seats.iro, and you guys write this down, seats.iro, seats.aero, it gives you a list 30 days out of different airlines and what they're offering, point system plus cash. And that's how I've been able to have the flexibility with traveling internationally and saving money. I'll try to make this fast because I feel like I'm okay. And then also I use credit cards or apps that earn points for flights, hotels, or dining. I use a digital wallet. In Europe, they use euros, or Amsterdam, they use euros, and then London, they use pounds. I have an app called Wise, which transfers your money automatically to whatever conversion you're using, and it's digitally. So I don't have to, I was ordering money through cash. I was ordering money and having it delivered to my house before leaving, but that was costing me more because the bank's transfer fee was way more money than what Wise offers. It's so significantly less, and it's digital. So it happens like that. So if I have to leave like tomorrow, I could just hit up Wise and put money in my account, and I can just convert it and just have it on my person. And I set daily spending limits, and then I prioritize experiences over luxuries. I've been there enough. There's certain things that I just don't need. I love going and just immersing myself and being there instead of having to carry things back. So yeah, with every trip, I'm learning something new as far as how to save money and spend my time wisely.
All the hacks. Okay,
Some
I
of the
love it.
hacks. I'm still trying to find some more.
No, I love it. I love it. And because I know last time uh we spoke, or two times ago we spoke, when I interviewed you, not for Finance or Freelance, um, you mentioned that you've got this nest egg, and so you're not having to work like a bunch of side jobs right now.
Yeah.
And so it's awesome to hear that even though you've got that nest egg, you have that savings, like you're being responsible with it.
Mm.
Um, so that's encouraging. It's interesting because I like had very similar strategies for my trip to Guatemala, which to me is a big sign like, hey, if we both approach it in a similar way, then maybe that's a smart way to do it. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So for example, last time I talked about a financial blunder, I bought this very expensive electric longboard. The benefit of it was I knew I was going to buy that longboard. Like I knew I was. So right before I bought it, I opened up a Capital One travel rewards credit card.
That's the
And
other one.
and it gave me a crazy bonus. It's like if you spend this much money between like in the first 90 days, you get like double. It was like
75,000.
yeah, it was like 75,000 points, which is like $750 basically, like just free. Now, this is the important thing, and this is where a lot of people screw up, not just artists, but regular people. They take out credit cards, and because they want the rewards, they just start buying shit that they don't need. And so you end up, it's like when you hear there's a sale going on at a store and you go buy a bunch of stuff that you weren't going to buy. You didn't get a deal. You just lost money because you weren't going to buy it to begin with.
What are you doing? What are you
So
doing?
So when I got the card, I timed it to when I knew I was going to make a big purchase. Whether this card existed or not, I was going to buy this thing, right? So all I did was benefit from having it. And then from there, I just used the card for gas because again, like I have to put gas in my car. That's not, gas. I used it. I had to get a rental car when I went down to South Carolina. And again, that's the thing I had to get groceries. So, and I'm not conflating this at all. I've had a couple different credit cards since my senior year of college, and not once have I paid interest on my credit cards. Every single month I pay off the balance. So I have not lost money because there's some folks who last time we were praising Dave Ramsey for his saving strategy. This is where he and I disagree a lot. I say we disagree as if I'm on Dave Ramsey's level. This this dude he's a billionaire, and I'm like, well, me and Dave disagree.
No, I love it. Like you said, you believe in yourself. Go on.
But I disagree a lot because he says no credit cards, plain period. The end of the discussion. I think it depends. If you are a responsible person and you know yourself to be one, then you can really leverage credit in a smart way. So, for example, going to Guatemala, I bought my wife and I's plane tickets using points that I got from buying this mode of transportation that I was going to buy anyway, and from buying groceries. Then I specifically chose to travel to a country in Central America because it's very cheap. We are active people. I went there to hike a couple volcanoes. And we went for 5 days. 2 of the days were spent hiking. And as a part of like our travel package, food was included. So really, I only had a budget like spending money for 3 days that we were there.
Mm.
And the US dollar, it's like a 13 cents to $1 conversion. So the US dollar is very strong in Guatemala. So
Yeah.
we went out to dinner, like nice restaurant for like $30 US for the two of
I'm
us.
talking the nicest meals, right?
Well, we had escargot. Okay, we was
Escargot.
eating. Yes, ma'am. It was so buttery and delicious. And so the whole trip for my 30th birthday, and it was really like kind of a luxurious experience. Like we had a private driver, we stayed in a very nice hotel, we went to a spa, all this stuff. I think like including flights, it was like $2,200 US. And I knew I wanted to take this trip, so I saved for it. I have an account that I call my dream fund.
Mm.
And so every month when I do my budget, I zero it out, which means I try not to carry money over from one month to the next. Caveat, I've already built up a small nest egg. Like I have cushion, right? So basically I have a month's worth of expenses as cushion. and I try and just keep it at that level month to month. So that means at the end of the month, money that I've made in surplus goes to retirement, investments. It would go to my emergency, but I've fully funded that account. So I'm no longer funding that one because it's full,
Okay.
according to the goal I had.
Sure.
And once you have it fully funded, you don't need to keep putting in there. So currently mine's going to retirement, investments. I have a fund for my creative business. So if I need to take classes or get new headshots, anytime I need money for that kind of stuff, there's an account. I just pull it out. It doesn't come from like, my wallet. And then my last account, I call my dream fund. It's like guilt-free. You can spend this on whatever you want.
Mm-hmm.
And I fund that one last. So y'all at home be like, oh, Hassiem said he got the dream fund. I fund that. I fund that one last. So once I've contributed to retirement, once I've contributed to investments and my creative fund, any money left over goes into the dream fund. Some months is more than others, right? But any surplus at the very end of the month, it goes to the dream fund. So I paid for this entire trip with my dream fund.
Smart.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It didn't
Okay.
affect my savings. It didn't affect my retirement. This month, we're not like eating ramen noodles because we went on this trip last month. It was all dream fund.
Right. I love that you touched on the method and then also touched on where else you're being smart about the money. So we both talked about this point reward system cards that you can use. Is there anything else that outside of, what about someone that can't necessarily afford to get this card and spend 3 or 4 grand in 90 days to get the points back? What else do you recommend?
Don't try. Run like the plague. It is like credit card debt is the number 2 like greatest debt that Americans have. Second only to student loans. It is a multi-billion dollar industry. They are making a killing off of irresponsible people taking out credit cards, spending money they don't have, maxing them out. And then you think like, oh, well, I'll just pay it off over time. The amount extra you're paying because of interest is like you're literally robbing yourself. It's a little like I want to be mindful of coming off as too judgmental. I want to be real and like, especially for people who don't have credit yet. I do want to say the warning of like, you have to be so disciplined to pay that thing off every single month, to only use it on, like I said, my wife and I, we use our credit cards for groceries, gas, and anything else where we have to pay for it no matter what. Yeah. We do not use our credit cards on just miscellaneous random fun things.
Absolutely not.
So if you don't have a rewards card, like how could you afford to do this stuff? The old fashioned way, you better put some money in your piggy bank, save up nice and slow. If you know you want to go on vacation a year from now, look at your budget, determine like what % of your budget you can afford to put away for this vacation, and just save it. Save for slowly and then spend it like guilt-free.
Yeah. Also, wait for days like Black Friday deals or Memorial Day weekend stuff. If there's things that you have to purchase and you don't have to do them right away, I say wait for those days where the world is giving you some sort of break. If it can wait. But yeah, definitely save or just be more mindful about the things that you want and start saving in advance, I'd say. But I think that the one thing that you touched on, Hassiem, is that people want to hear real answers. So I think it's less judgmental, and I think it's just like, here's the deal, here's my perspective. And I don't think you're judging anybody. I think it's just like, this is really what it is, and this is what it looks like. So yeah.
No, I just think about like the person maybe listening to this who has credit card debt, and now they feel like, oh no, the finger's being pointed at me. And it's like, that's, you know what I'm saying? Like I don't want to make you feel that way. Now, if you feel that way because that's your reality, then like, that's your reality. We all make bad choices. Like,
sure. Like, I've been there.
Yeah. Like, you like beat yourself. I'm not saying like, don't go out and like, do something crazy. But the reality is it's a dangerous trap. Also, because your credit cards, they'll be like, "Oh, we've increased your limit." You can say no. If
Yeah.
if you know you're irresponsible and they send you that notice that says we've increased your limit, you can literally write back and say, "I do not approve this," and they won't increase it.
Yeah.
Um,
That's cute. No one asked you
yeah,
to do that. How about you take
right.
it back?
Why you trying to? Because, like I said, it's a multi-billion-dollar industry. They're trying to get you to spend money you don't have. If you don't have a lot of money, do not go broke. Do not go into debt. I know a person personally. I know this person personally who makes six figures a year and who was at one point recently $30,000 in debt because of a vacation they took or a few vacations they took. $30,000. So this
Mm.
person, if you look at their business, you're like, oh, they're doing great. They're in the hole. They are broke. If you have that much money in debt and you're month to month, you're broke. So what I would recommend is what's within driving distance. Because another hack is if you rent a car from an airport, it's way cheaper than if you rent it from like a standalone, like just an enterprise, like just brick and mortar, wherever. Right. So whenever,
Really?
yeah. So like my wife and I, we did our anniversary trip this year to Ithaca,
Hmm.
and we went to LaGuardia Airport in New York to get our rental car to drive up. It was crazy cheap. It was, I don't remember, it was just a couple $100, but like it's typically, I've gotten a rental car from the airport for literally like $38 a day before.
Why is that? I'm sure it makes a lot of sense. I don't want to think, but just tell me why that is cheaper than, say, like a standalone. I don't even
If
know
I
what they're
had to
called more.
guess supply and demand, like
Mm.
airport rental cars, they have a ton of cars,
And they have a lot of people and
which
there's a lot of traffic of people coming in and
which
out.
is a lot.
So,
Yeah, they can afford to be less because like they have so many cars in their
right.
fleets. Um, so yeah, guys, like I said, vacation within your means, be smart about it. You can do it. Like it's possible as an artist who has like, you're not like swimming in money. Like you can absolutely take vacation. You can absolutely treat yourself. Just do it responsibly. Alrighty, last but not least, what we're spending on this week. So Andrea and I, just to like kind of wrap things up, we're both going to share a guilty pleasure or a necessary splurge that each of us have coming up or have made recently. You look ready. You look ready to share.
You start first.
Okay. So mine, my dog turned 4 this week. My puppy, his name is Cairo. He's not in here. I'll show you to
Oh,
him.
I
Um,
can't.
he he's a very muscular small dog. He's like 20 pounds, but he's like a hunting dog. Anyway, I live in
To
New York
be
City.
to be very clear, we are going to flash a picture of him during this, right? You just said beefy and like small. I have to see this thing.
Yeah, he's
Okay.
cute. Okay,
Okay.
so Cairo turned 4, and we live in New York City. It's really cold. We're going to Michigan this week. It's going to be colder. So I got Cairo a new coat. It's a practical gift. I'm not one of the people who like I don't give my dog a birthday cake. My dog does not walk in a stroller. You know, I'm very practical with it, but he was in need of his current coat is like only kind of covers half his body. And this coat like goes down his legs and comes up his neck. Um, and then I got a second piece, which are like they're like boots, but they're like attached to like it's almost like boots attached to a raincoat, but it's only for the bottom half of his body.
Okay.
So basically, like if it's snowing, you put him in this like suspenders, basically, so
Pretty much.
the shoes don't fall off. So his boots won't fall off, and then you can put the coat over that. Oh, he gonna be toasty. He gonna be toasty.
Oh, he's
Yeah.
gonna be the happiest. Oh, that sounds amazing. Um, that's so cute. And it's smart to invest in your kids, so you have to. It's gonna make him happier. So I guess my big spend is, and I'm still working out the budgeting. So I'm leaving for Amsterdam again on Monday, December 1st, and I'll be gone for about a month and some change. I think I mentioned that I have family in London. Um, my aunt lives there as well as my cousins. And so for this trip, I am going from Amsterdam to London, still deciding between Paris, Prague, and Italy. Um, so that's my big spend. Gonna see some
Heard.
shows, gonna do some go see some things, So that's my big spend.
Love it.
Yeah.
Hey, treat yourself. Enjoy yourself. We are here to live.
Yeah. Yes, we are.
Live.
We are. And if we can make it a little bit more mind conscious, that's cool too.
100%. That's why we're here. Finance for Freelance, baby.
Yeah.
If you enjoyed this episode of Finance for Freelance, then you'll love our latest F4F episode, where we react to financial advice from SAG-AFTRA and play some more Would You Rather. So be sure to check that out.
And make sure to like this episode and subscribe to the channel. Your bank account will thank you.
Yes, it will. Shout out to our co-producers and distributors over at Next Chapter Podcast. I'll be back next week with another episode of The Actor's Instrument. Till next time, y'all.
Till next time.
Peace.
Bye.